And let's talk about Chelsea 2, Tottenham Hotspur 2. Guys, I predicted a win for Spurs, a rare win. They don't do well against Chelsea. You could check the record. But I had a feeling they'll get something from the game. I went as far as predicting a win, which was a little far-fetched in my opinion. And they didn't play well in the game. Let me say that from the get-go. Let me say from the get-go. Chelsea deserved to win this game. I know some Chelsea fans may be thinking I don't like Chelsea or whatever, but after losing the Champions League final a couple seasons ago, I kind of, have a thing against Chelsea. To be honest, I have developed a little bit of hatred, I have to admit. I'm not a Chelsea hater, but in that regard, I have developed a little hatred. But I am still fair and I am still honest when it comes to analyzing Chelsea matches, right? Guys, Chelsea should have won this game. I think they were hard done by some very, very poor refereeing decisions from Anthony Taylor. Very, very poor. And they were punished in result of those decisions. And it's so crazy. It is so crazy that those decisions, those poor decisions, resulted in goals for Tottenham. Koulibaly in the 19th minute. What a goal. Cucurella, and I told you guys that Cucurella is going to start the game because he looked bright when he came on. If we check the lineup, let's see if Chilwell, of course he's on the bench. Of course he's on the bench. He's fit. And I did mention that Cucurella is going to come straight into the team. And the reason he's going to come straight into the team is because Mr. Thomas Tuchel don't really know his best 11. He does not know his best 11, and he keeps switching it. So if you win the game against Everton with Ben Chilwell from the start, why are you changing to Cucurella? Please, somebody explain that to me. Please. Why are you switching up the team, a winning team? I know you might have some things that you have to change, but why are you doing this? Why are you tweaking? You're tweaking too much. Thomas Tuchel is a tweaker. He tweaks too much. Aspilicueta dropped. You see what I'm saying? Things like that. Like, you can't be doing that. And that is, I think, what affects this Chelsea team. Too much chopping and changing. Too much chopping and changing. So they went from 1-0 to Koulibaly, and I think they were a better team. Way better than Tottenham, who I think was very, very poor for most of the match until they got back in the game, right? And you got to give a lot of credit to Antonio Conte there. I know it was a heated exchange. We will talk about that, and that came after the goal was scored, right? So the whole situation was the tackle on Kai Havertz, and I think you look back and you say, oh, the player may have got some of the ball, but then when you really look at it, the player came from behind. I think that was Bentancur, if I'm not mistaken, right? Was that Bentancur who tackled Kai Havertz there for that ball, if I'm not mistaken? And he didn't get a card. It wasn't a foul. The game was just allowed to continue. But Chelsea got to blame themselves for switching off as well, protesting and allowing Spurs to build up to the Pierre-Emile Højbjerg goal, which was a very, very good goal. You can't allow Højbjerg so much space and to take that shot. You see what I mean? May have had a deflection on its way through as well, if I'm not mistaken. But Chelsea switched off in that moment, protesting, and the phase was too far back to go back to that, to go back and overturn the goal, right? But I think we've seen a lot of instances where fouls have been given for exactly that. Going in from behind or from the side and going through the player to get the ball, even if a little bit of the ball was actually won by the player. Right? So right there, bam, back in the game for Spurs, 1-1. But then Chelsea had a very good period where they had some opportunities. We're going to take a look at the stats here, right? Where Chelsea had 16 shots, 3 on target. Kai Havertz had a brilliant chance that he didn't score. Raheem Sterling had a brilliant chance that he didn't score. There were chances created, a lot of chances, and Chelsea are guilty of not taking those chances. But after those misses, and Tottenham was hardly in the game. They were hardly in the game. Mendy was pretty much a spectator for most of it, right? Until later on, Tottenham did, get in the game a little bit more. Harry Kane did have a brilliant opportunity that he missed as well. Very uncharacteristic of Harry Kane, but more characteristic of Raheem Sterling to miss, chances like that. And Reece James got that goal. That was a brilliant setup. The breakaway, Tottenham were just left wide open. And Sterling with an assist. Kudos to Sterling, who I think was the best Chelsea player against Everton. And he did not have a bad game here against Spurs, but I think he could have, maybe bag a goal, and Chelsea would have probably eventually gone on to win this game. But that was a quality goal by Reece James. I think Hugo Lloris, who did pull off some good saves. I could remember him a ball. I think that was Reece James with the shot, if I'm not mistaken. That I can't remember who shot he saved early on in the game, but that was a savable ball for the Reece James goal that went right on the Hugo Lloris. So Chelsea back in the lead with 13 minutes to hold on to the match and plus extra time. And unfortunately, they give up another goal. But even though the refereeing decision was poor, you have to give credit to Spurs for never giving up, for staying in the game, for just, keeping the rivalry red hot. And for Antonio Conte, after the whole heated exchange with Thomas Tuchel after the Highbury goal, and they almost fought and they had to be separated. Yellow cards were shown to the managers as well. You have to refer to the Cucurella and Christian Romero situation, because how a foul was not given for that, I don't understand, man. I don't understand how a foul was given for that, because that was a clear foul. That was a clear foul, and that is the I have I there's probably been instances of that happening where players have been pulled down via their hair, but that was a unique kind of foul where Romero just grabbed Cucurella's hair and pulled him to the ground. And it was blatant. And I want to get I want to actually get an image of that. You know what I'm saying? So Romero, Cucurella, we gotta get something. We gotta get something of that one. We have to actually see that one, because that was actually unbelievable that a foul was not actually given for that. You know what I'm saying? So let me just see if I could pull up something of that and show you guys the incident there. So yeah, I'm just okay. I got something here for you. Let me just share that with you. So we just take a look at what happened there. So bam, we go to the Daily Mail there. We scroll down. Romero, that's an aftermath. And then we scroll down and we could see him in the act there of literally just holding on to Cucurella's hair and pulling him to the ground. And I think this was the corner before. This was the corner before, because Chelsea wasn't dealing with Tottenham's attacks and everything was going on for a corner, right? And then the final corner came in and it was headed in by Harry Kane. Reece James got a little bit off of him and it went into the back of the net. A foul was supposed to be called for this. No doubt about it. It was foul all day, every day. You could see the player grabbing the other player's hair, and it was probably a red card foul as well for player endangerment. You could have pulled out a couple follicles there, man. You know what I'm saying? You could have de-scalped. You could have de-scalped Cucurella. You see what I'm saying? But it's actually, he should have been a Manchester City player. And it's nice to see that happening over there at Chelsea and not at City. You know what I'm saying? So let the hair pulling happen over there. But we've seen players with dreads not get their hair pulled. I don't know why Romero chose to pull in Cucurella's hair. Maybe he was being annoying. Maybe he said something to him in Spanish. I don't know. But he got pulled to the ground via his hair, though. So Tottenham equalizing there. I did predict a win for Tottenham. So It felt good for me getting, for the draw, to be honest. And the more points Tottenham and Chelsea drop, the better for me, actually, as a Man City fan. And I'm pretty sure the Liverpool and the Arsenal fans would feel the same way. They probably want Spurs to drop all 3 points, but the fact that Chelsea's also dropping points would work out in everyone's favor. So this was a very, very dramatic game, I have to say, man. But Chelsea should have won the game. They should have won the game. They should have defended well enough to not allow Spurs to get back into the match. But I think one of the real heroes of this match, it has to be Antonio Conte. Because we're going to look at some substitutions that he made, right? The substitution of bringing on Ivan Perisic, Yves Bissouma, the Richarlison substitution as well, throwing the kitchen sink with the Lucas Moura substitution, that is what actually won them a point. Not the game, but the point. But the key substitution was a Perisic substitution, because when he came on, his distributions were so damn good. And he got an assist for that equalizing goal. But his distribution from the free kicks and from the corners was so good. And we know he's two-footed. He's a right footer, but he's also very good with his left foot. I'm telling you, man, he's going to prove to be a very good signing. And he is my favorite Croatian player as well. I've said that many, many years, and it's nice to see him in the Premier League. Albeit for a rival team, it's still nice to see him in the league. And Spurs, one of the stronger teams when it comes to this transfer window, they started the season off very, very good, picking up 4 points in their first two games. So they're looking very settled as a unit as well. I think Emerson, had a good game. The midfield there with Bentancur and Hybier, they were quiet for the most part, but then woke up. And it's weird that Son hasn't been involved too much, but Harry Kane getting on the score sheet could only be a good sign for Spurs fans. Kulusevski and Son wasn't so involved in this match, but we know how good they are, and that could change anytime soon. Look, for Chelsea, as I mentioned, man, the criticism for me is just the chopping and changing. N'Golo Kante is going to be a big miss. He had to go off injured. Jorginho, I don't think offers much. They may have to look into, switching him out and bringing in maybe Conor Gallagher, who's going to give you a little bit more work rate, creativity, goal-scoring threat. Christian Pulisic came off the bench. You have Armando Broja coming off the bench ahead of guys like Ziyech. Ziyech could be on the way out. But for the life of me, I can't understand why Thomas Tuchel chops and changes so much, though. And that could definitely be the Achilles heel for the Chelsea team, and one that I have identified in the future. So, look, 2-2, a point apiece for both teams, and it's the result that I actually wanted, and it's one of the results I wanted, and one of the results that is a good result for rival fans, as I mentioned there. So, look, in terms of anything else, man, that we got here, there's been talk in terms of the news that exclusively from David Austin that Michael Edwards has turned down Chelsea sporting director opportunity. Edwards recently told Chelsea FC he's taking time out and the search is ongoing for a sporting director there. So there's been the Anthony Gordon link, and also Chelsea are looking to get rid of Michy Batshuayi, the Belgian international, and he could be involved in a deal if the deal does go through to Everton. Everton do need a striker, and I think Batshuayi could be a player that they need, because he does know how to get the ball into the back of the net. But you can't lose Gordon. Gordon, I think, would be a big loss for Everton, in my opinion there. So look, there's also been let me see if I have anything else for you here. There's been Thomas Tuchel's comments after the Chelsea draw with Tottenham are being investigated by the FA. I don't know which comments to be exact, but the interview, the post-match interview was very interesting there that he gave. And when the handshake at the end of the game, I don't know who was the one who kind of instigated the fight, but they shook hands and someone held on longer than they should have. I don't know if it's Tuchel or if it's Antonio Conte there, but Yeah, it was a very, very dramatic game, man. Very, very, very dramatic game. And, that's what we need. To be honest, that is exactly what we need in the league, man. That is exactly what we need in the league. We need this kind of fiery matches. We need this kind of rivalry. We need these controversial moments, or else it's gonna be boring. You see what I'm saying? It's gonna be very, 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 very boring. I know there's more things that I could get into, but I'm not gonna get too deeper into this. We gotta go over into the Liverpool Crystal Palace game, where I am predicting a win for Liverpool, 3 goals to 1. But just to wrap things up, guys, for these teams, Chelsea and Spurs, for Tottenham, their next game will be against Wolves. And for Chelsea, their next match would be against Leeds United.